hang on, I'll stick this on and you can talk. Look, give me 30 seconds.
It's just the end of 4 years of absolute hell, really. But hey, we did it. We got here to the start. And that's all that matters.
It feels awesome, mate. It feels awesome. 3 years. And to be here is just the best. So we're just going to give it our best and enjoy the adventure.
It's here. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah. I've obviously just slept, or I've either gone to sleep or I've slept, and that's kind of been the end of it. All I vividly remember, and I don't know if it's here, but I don't know if it's there, it's probably here looking at this, being on my side and the boys, and screaming at them not to touch me. And yeah, obviously I've smacked something on the way down.
March 2018, I was competing in a multiple day expedition race down in Southland. A few days into the race, I've had a fall and suffered a severe brain injury. The fallout from that was a lot of complications, which unravelled over months and years from then on.
So within that first year, I lost my partner. I lost a lot of friends who walked away from me. I lost my job, and then I've had a day where all of a sudden things have just really fallen apart, and all of a sudden I can barely speak. I couldn't even stand up with my eyes closed without falling over. So you lose all of your identity and you've become, basically, you think no one.
We came across Ben near the end of the race, actually, in the Llewellyn Forest. So it was a mountain bike leg. And we saw him sitting in the middle of a fire road, actually, for a break. And wondered what he was doing there. Had a chat, and pretty much I thought there wasn't something quite right. He'd hit his head the day before, had headaches, and just wasn't functioning properly. So we just decided as a team and through our doctor that we should probably travel to the end of the race together. And so over the next couple of days, it's pretty much what we did.
And I don't think at that time we really quite realised what my brain was going to do to itself because of that concussion and how serious it was. You know, there's pictures of me sitting down at the lodge just after it going, man, mate, you don't know what's just happening. You don't know what's coming down the line. There are things in your life now, you are back to basics. You're starting again. But I didn't know it at the time. Six weeks after the fall, there's been a day that everything's just fallen apart, essentially. You know, I've woken up, gone to work, and then I can't talk.
We didn't know what was wrong. We didn't know, would he get over it? No one could tell us anything. It was hell.
It was hell too, as a parent, to watch it happening, yeah.
Mum sitting on the end of the bed while I'm bawling about it at 29, that it's over, it's horrific.
He was very angry. He was an angry person at that stage.
He never said a nice word to us unless he'd been out in the mountains, and then we got 20 minutes of him happy and talking. Otherwise he would grunt. Days we'd fight over who was going to check to see if he was alive or not, because you just wouldn't hear anything from him.
I get this call from Ben. The only problem with the call was I didn't know who it was on the end of the phone. And I thought it was someone taking the mickey out of me, to be honest, because it was like, you know, it was like this across the end of the phone. I'm like, who the heck is this? And then I obviously through the language and so forth, I worked out it was Ben Lott. And sorry, guys, it was Ben Lott, and he, you know, I couldn't believe it, and I had no idea why he would be sounding like this. And over the telephone, he tried to tell me what had happened to him.
There was a point early on in the rehab where I would have days where, and someone asked me my name, I could not remember my name. Number one, I couldn't get it out. But number two, I would sit there trying to remember, who am I? Who am I? Oh no, oh no.
If you could draw a picture of somebody good and somebody completely different, both physically and mentally, he was it.
So I learned to say fuck first, because fuck this, fuck that, fuck you. Because at that point, that was how I was feeling. Fuck this.
One of the first chats I had with Ben was actually around the medical advice he was getting at the time, and I was gobsmacked. He actually told me that they advised that he have no goals. That was the way to get his brain sort of back in order again. When he told me, I was like, what, have no goals? That's counterproductive, crazy as far as I was concerned. I told him so.
So when you tell someone like me don't have any goals, well, we fall apart because we don't know why we're even alive.
I said to him, mate, you know, what are some of your goals? Have you got any big goals? And he said, yeah, I've got a goal to do a race called the Yukon 1000.
Go Will, go Toby, see you guys, good luck.
Yukon 1000 is a 1,000-mile paddle race, which is 1,600 kilometres. It's the longest paddle race globally. It is one of the remotest races globally. And I thought, oh, that looks a bit of me. And then in passing, I've said to Scott about it. They of course said, yeah, I'll do that. We could be into that.
You need to hold on that boat, mate. Don't let go, because otherwise you're going to go.
I then went home that night and looked on the computer because I had no idea what I'd signed myself up to, and found it was a 1,000-mile paddle, and took a deep breath and thought, yep, okay, we'll get that cracked and done.
Scott's 65, I'm 32. There's 30 years in there between us, but we both needed each other, I think, along the way to get going.
If I think back, is really the start of not just the Yukon race, it's actually the start of him and I doing missions. Ben's got his mate up here. This is Ben, meet Ben. Ben the Kia. Those goals of a lesser degree were, hey, let's just go out for a hike. And that can progress to, let's just go out for an overnighter. Oh, let's go down and get your navigation going. Let's go and explore some places in Fiordland. Every time we did a mission, he got better. And so it was a no-brainer at the end, because you could literally throw him out of the car at the start, and 3 or 4 days later put him in the car. He might be tired, but he was so much better, psychologically, physically.
Too cold, too cold. I was on the lippy side, minus something last night. Once it gets minus, it doesn't really matter how cold the minuses are, does it?
No, there was no screaming birds last night though.
What's that?
So without having the Scotty trips, I don't know where we'd be. They would just, they open up your world again. We started getting deeper into Fiordland and seeing some really cool places. And it would just be Scott and I blabbering away about I don't know what. But he would just go with it. I don't even think he could actually hear me most of the time. He's probably just saying, yep, 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 and then going on with his own conversation.
Towards Manapuri. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful conditions.
You need to be able to trust the person you're with, but the two of us seem to be able to trust each other. I mean, I trust him with my life, with everything.
I made sure I had the friends I needed beside me. A lot of people walked away when I was no longer relevant. I suppose it's really hard as an egotistical young male to be told that you are now you're a liability and we don't want to take you out.
You're going, oh, I get where you guys are coming from, but you've crushed me now. And then I suppose you just start finding people at my age that are in the exact same boat.
Elliot, don't tear the arms off us, please.
You'll be alright, he will catch us up anyway. We're not waiting.
Ben has never ever had the kind of attitude of, victim or poor me at all. Ben's recovery, I think, is remarkable, how fast it's been. It is, really. It's super inspiring, and constantly every day I'm just like, wow, I don't know how he does it.
Okay, so we'll just head along here. Yeah. Easy. What a day. Go, Pinky.
See where he's at now is amazing. I thought that we'd be going on the Yukon, it would be one hell of a hard slog, because I thought I'd have a guy in the boat in the front that, sorry Ben, would be as good as useless. Would be really difficult, but we'd do it anyway. And now that's just not the case. So, am I surprised? Absolutely. Am I pleasantly surprised? You bloody well bet. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you told me a year and a half into this journey, which we're now at 4 years, that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I probably would have laughed at you. But secretly in the back of my head, I was hanging on for dear life, and it was going to happen whether people knew about it or liked it.
You could hardly walk in. I could hardly understand you. But I just knew that you had this, I don't know, there was a drive.
We're getting there. We'll know by the end of July.
Well, when you hop on the plane on Tuesday, that'd be pretty surreal, I would have thought.
Yep, life jacket. Take your satellite phone on the plane as well. Yep, that's the next one. At this point it's just a lot to do. 3 years ago I got back in the boat, and having the specialist flip out, yelling at me to stop. I was only allowed to paddle for something like 500 metres. I paddled like 800. Got out of the boat vomiting and had to go to sleep on the side while he sat there and watched me. I was gone, but I got back in that frickin' boat, and that was all that mattered. We've just fought for this for so long now that it's just a bit surreal that it's actually happening, and that in 4 days we're actually leaving, because this is like the plateau of kind of what we've been pushing for. And all the specialists that said there was no way in hell that I could ever get back to doing this. Like, I will, just wait and see. Don't ever tell me, don't tell anyone they won't do it again.
I run the Yukon 1000, which runs from Whitehorse in Canada, in the Yukon Territory, all the way through to Alaska, so 1,000 miles along the Yukon River.
That's good there, mate. That suits me with my pets. That's really good.
And the great thing about this is there's not a lot out there, so it will take you back all the way to the first people that came down here, whether it be the First Nations that came down here in a wooden canoe, a birch bark or dugout, or from those first frontiersmen and women that came down here for the gold rush in about 1886. So that's what makes this entire race unique. We got ya. It's at the high end of risk here, maybe a little over.
How many icebreakers in that are you going to take? They sort of
Oh no, I've got room, I think.
I thought you would.
Yeah.
In case we get caught in fires. Yes, and we're not kidding.
It's kind of like the end of a 4-year grunt that everyone said wasn't possible and I'd never be able to do. It's kind of the moment we sit in the boat. It's a bit of a, hi, did it. So, God, it's a bit much really, but anyway. Find the boat and we'll be on.
I'm excited. Fucking buzzing. I've been pumped since 3 a.m. What about you, Toad?
Can't bloody wait. It's been a while. We're getting out there.
This river is, well, for one, it's amazing. It's a very big river. And it's going to go almost 2,000 miles to the ocean. So these guys are undertaking quite an event. That takes some guts and some doing and a lot of perseverance and some good common sense along the way to look after yourself. So quite an adventure race they got ahead of them.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck, dude. Yeah. This is the law of the Yukon, and ever makes it plain. So not you're foolish or feeble, so me you're strong and you'll save. Robert Service, the law of the Yukon. Enjoy it, and that's what it's here to be. You know, enjoy it, all of it. It's spectacular.
Ben taking control at the back. Control freak it's his own admission, it's not mine. What's the name of this one, Ben?
This is Graham.
This is Graham, so this is Frank's brother-in-law.
Graham's from Tapanui.
He's from Tapanui. Yukon's so high that there's really hardly anywhere to stop. So Ben's manoeuvring on the boat has been awesome, and he can park it anywhere actually.
Don't let go of that boat!
Smoke on the water.
I didn't even think of that.
Bushfire. We've seen plenty of remnants of the big fires they get here, and it's starting to smoke up the sky. Man, the smoke's really getting to eyes. 200k. Just keeps going. And here's the flagpole. Flags are gone. That is the US-Canadian border. We are now in America.
It's my hands after 5 days of paddling, and I'm into gloves now. And then I've got trench foot again.
Got foot issues there. That's okay.
Yeah,
and his
so
back.
it's okay. And my back
is not too bad.
Much better.
No, it's not too bad. And I've got paddler's hand, which you can see what that finger from gripping the thing has sort of gone weird. I'm gripping it for 1,000 miles. So yeah, we're going to button everything up and it's time for bed. Okay, this is the flats area. Pretty intimidating really. Looks more like the sea. Really hard to navigate, and once again we've camped up tonight. Yeah, Ben had a freak out, but that's okay, so did I. And we've camped again on a sandbar.
Highlight of the day, Scott.
Highlight of the day. I don't have a highlight because today is really hard. Who should we meet? Who the hell did we meet? Who the hell is this? Holy crap!
How many miles are we in? We're what, like 850 miles in?
Yeah, and of all the places we can meet, we meet on a sandbar in the middle of the Yukon.
Wait, no. When you do the race, learn to suffer, because that's what you will do. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah, I was not expecting that. It's hard. Big pass pocket.
If you lose your kayak in the Yukon with nobody around, you're fundamentally in trouble. And at last, the Dalton Highway Bridge. We are heading home.
At the moment, it's really hard to explain the emotions of it. I think it's going to take a week for it to sink in that it's actually been achieved. It's really surreal at this point. It's like living out the body, kind of. Like, is this really the end? And it's not the end. There's so much more going on going forward. This was just kind of the beginning.
There you go.
What up, mate?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pull you up.
Oh.
And it just goes to show, don't put the barriers up. There is a way forward, and we've managed to find it.
My high is the whole bloody race. I mean, what can you say? There's so many good highs. So down moments, to be honest, we didn't have one. I'm over the moon. Totally over the moon. And to see Ben come through so well.
No! Fuck off! I'm too late now. Anyway, good job.
Dude.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Oh God, we'll have to do it again, maybe, just not tomorrow.
All that rehabilitation, to me it's come to a head where he himself now realises that there really are no limitations.
Coming back down here was, I didn't want to, I refused to. I was not ready, didn't want to, I don't want to see it, I don't want to go into Fjordland, I can't do it. Because I just mentally just could not get down here. So much on these stairs changed in an instant. From that basic little moment, it was like starting afresh again on everything. The first time was, I think I bawled a long time, but it was more the grief of coming back again. This is kind of like where everything had ended, and this is the final point, and then changing that around and making it this is the special place now to come to. It's now I love Fjordland, and especially down here. It's just it's such a key part of my life now, in a way, that it's good to come back and just sit with everything.
So it is what it is. If it gets better, it gets better, but don't think about it. Just got to keep going and keep trucking. I've got this far. If I can get this far now, I can only go 2 or 3 times further down the road.
We never thought we'd lose him. Your son's your son.
Yeah, no matter what state he's in. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see him where he is now. Like, it's exciting.
Yeah.
So we had this sort of silent drive to the airport that he dropped me off at Fairbanks, and I got out of the car and got bags out of the back, and nothing was said, and I looked from the back of the boot and I said, "Oh, okay, we'll see you at home, Ben." And a sort of hand went up like that, and thought, okay, that's fine, I understand how it works. Shut the boot, walked round, and all of a sudden the door flew open, and towering big Ben above me comes and gives me this hug, and with a few tears in his eyes, and just said, "We did it. I'm back. And I remember getting on the plane, checking my bags and thinking, yeah, he's back. We did it, we won.